Hey, in yesterday's video I did talk about how I basically spent my entire day inside watching Netflix and how I didn't really feel bad for it as much as I once did. And I did watch these two different movies or shows. I watched like 3 or 4 different movies and shows yesterday. One of them was called Awakenings. If you've never watched it, it's on Netflix. I recommend going and checking it out. I'm gonna do there's a little brief backstory of what Awakenings is about. So it's like there's this doctor, he ends up going into this ward to find certain types of people. What he does from there, these people are like clinically insane, and he has a conversation where he sees this one person that's like basically frozen in time, but like he's still mentally able to observe the things and thoughts that he ends up having. And throughout the movie he ends up taking this like experimental drug, and the experimental drug ends up helping the dude out in some way, shape, or form. And it was in the summer of 1969, and it was based off of a true story. And the guy starts to behave normally as if he didn't have like any sort of disease. Like he could actually walk around, he could talk, whereas before he couldn't walk around, he couldn't talk, he couldn't take care of himself. And then throughout the movie he starts to degenerate back into like his additional state that he had. But there's the reason for this, at least this is what I see, and I'm no doctor by any means, but the reason why he wanted to go outside and he wanted to be like a normal human again. He didn't want to be trapped inside the psych ward anymore, being told that he was crazy, that he couldn't go outside. So within the movie he ends up deciding to take the leap and go outside, or try to go outside. And then as soon as he does that, then his condition starts to worsen. And that got me thinking. I was like, I wonder if the reason why because at the end of the movie you see that basically there's never a time where they had that same awakenings, or the same awakening from like going to sleep from like paralysis to like full-blown like freedom of walking and talking and dressing and taking care of themselves. That same event never happened again after the summer of 1969. And the reason why I think that is, or I can believe it to be true, is because why get better if you can't improve upon the betterness that you're going out to improve upon? So it's like he just wanted to go outside, he wanted to live a normal life, he just wanted to go on a walk. But like the doctors at the ward were like, no, we're worried that you're gonna hurt people, we're worried that these things are gonna happen, we're worried that you're gonna have a seizure or whatever it is, so you can't go out by yourself. Which that gave me the thought, I'm like, so then why fight to get better if somebody's not allowing you to get better at all in the first place? It's kind of interesting, like if you think about it, because at first when all the other patients started to get good, and then he took them outside, and then the other people that are also like paralyzed, and in the paralysis they all of a sudden were able to see what happened, because like they were watching, and since they were like still cognizantly still aware of like the surroundings that were going on around them, when they saw the one dude get a lot better, all of a sudden they're like, oh, maybe I can also get better too. So then they started to walk and talk as they were able to get on the drug as well. But as soon as the doctor was like, hey, you can't actually go outside, regardless of how good you get, regardless of how like good your medicine is, you'll never actually be able to go outside again. And that kind of got me thinking. I was like, maybe that's the whole reason. Like he had no reason to fight anymore. Like the reason he had to fight was because he wanted to go back into the real world. He wanted to experience things again, love, friendship, connections, like the ability to take care of himself. And yet when the doctors at the ward took that away from him, he was like, why even fight anymore? Like, yeah, sure I can, but like if I can never actually go live a normal life, like what's the point? And at that point I was like thinking about that, because as I touched on briefly the other day, one of my buddies at the gym that I was talking with, he was telling me about he ended up having to go to like this camp, and how like once you're in those like mental hospitals or whatever it is, or you have a diagnosis in psychology or something like that, it always remains on your chart. Always. Or like if you're in one of those mental places, or you're in like the asylums or whatever it is, you're always going to be thought of as crazy, even if you do get good, because the people want to keep you there, which is kind of a messed up system in my personal opinion. Because when the person gets better, aren't you supposed to let them go free? But then they're like, no, we have to run more tests, we have to do more things, we have to make sure that everything, all the I's are dotted and the T's are crossed. And it's like, well, why? Who says? Because what if they would have let the dude outside in the movie? It was Robert De Niro. I think it was Robert De Niro and Robin Williams. Like they wouldn't let his character go outside. What if they did let him go outside? What if that was the thing? Like, because if you have nothing to fight for, if you have nothing to work for, if you have nothing to strive for, if you have no reason to, like, if you get better and you end up just staying in the exact same place that you started before you got better, then why would you want to get better in the first place? It's something that I think about. It's like, if you're getting better, you're doing it for a reason, because you want to move out of the place that you're at. But if you get better and then they're like, hey, sorry, so you can't actually move past the place that you're wanting to get past, then you have to stay here. And it's just like, well, what's the point in getting better? I might as well just stay where I'm at, because I don't have any reason to want to get better in the first place. It's kind of like going to the gym or doing anything else that you want to do. Like, you could be like, oh, I really want to do this, but it's just like, as soon as you start to get better and better, and I'll actually give you a personal analogy that I have. So like, I would always, when I was doing my sales job and when I'm getting back into it, is like, I would always want to get better and better and better. And when I was getting better, then I would be recognized, and they'd give me the promotion, or they'd give me a raise, or they'd give me like a bonus, or like some sort of like gift card or whatever it is for doing better. And then as soon as like I'm doing a lot better, then I eventually get to being better at, all of a sudden once I get up near the top and I'm like doing better and I'm performing and I'm going out there and I'm like making all the friends and the connections and I'm talking and being myself and everything like that. And then all of a sudden they come at me and they're like, hey, so actually we're not going to promote you this time, or whatever it may be. And I'm like, all right, that's fine. Like, that's cool. I get it. I understand it. And at that point I was just like, well, what's the point in even trying now? Like, if I'm not going to move up any further after I've given everything that I possibly could give, and I just am shot down this time or whatever it is, it's like, well, what's the point of fighting for this anymore? So I guess I just think about those things as like, what is the thing that I'm fighting for? What do I want to get out of the life that I'm living? Like, if everything did start to work out in my favor, what would that look like? Where would I be? Who would I act? Who would I talk to? How would I walk? Where would I go? What would I eat? What would I wear? What would I consume? What would I do? Because I believe that the mind is the most powerful mechanism that we humans possess in our entire existence. Like, there's nothing more powerful than the mind. There isn't, you can say that there is, but think about it. Like, everything is only ever happening within yourself, regardless of what you may believe to be true. And you can challenge that. Like, if you want to challenge that and question that and ask me questions as to whether or not, like, why I believe those things, let me know down in the comment section down below, because I'd love to hear those things as well too, and have this idea challenged. I just think about when doctors are giving other people placebos, they have to do like double blinds and test people, and people will think that they aren't on this or they are on this. Like, I had a buddy a while ago who was telling me a story about one of his friends who was basically just given powder, but was told that it was cocaine, and he was acting as if he was on cocaine, but it was just like a normal white like powder or something like that. There was no psychoactive elements or anything like that, but the mind thought that there was, so then he started to act as if he was actually on cocaine. And that's why I say it's the same thing with the movie. Like, if Robert De Niro's character could have gone outside, or the actual guy could have gone outside, maybe he could have actually become better, and the medicine would have kept working. But when when one of the people see what happens when he ends up when he stops trying, or he can't achieve it, then the person that had the strongest will be the one that ends up failing or falling back, and everybody else will fall back in line with that. Because even at the start of the movie, one of the aspects is like the patient took the will of the tennis ball, and that's exactly what all the other patients that had the same disease did. They took the will of Robert De Niro's character. They just took his will, and then when they saw that regardless of what he was doing, that they weren't ever going to get free, they're like, oh, okay, we'll just degenerate back into the way that we once were, which is messed up in my personal opinion. It's just like, if you're getting better, you should be able to move on. You should be able to let go of those things. You should be able to let that past diagnosis, that past experience lie, let go of it. And that was one of the other series, Scavenger's Reign. There's an aspect in there as well too. Not going to touch on that right now. It's just about letting go. Like, what do you want to move forward with? Because you can never change the past. All you can ever do is connect the dots from the past to help you move forward in the ways that you want to move forward in. Use all the information, use all the knowledge, use all the experience, use all the books, use all the wisdom, use all your mentors, use everybody that you have ever used to help you so you can move forward. And then realize whenever you're getting held back, maybe it's your mind trying to play tricks on you to help you or prevent you from either moving forward or wanting to continue the fight. Because it's just like, if I'm not going to be making the progress that I thought I was going to be making from putting in this work and this effort and this time, then why even try to fight at all in the first place? And it's just like, that's where the endurance, the strength, the discipline, the resolve, the grit, that all comes into play as well too. And if you develop those over the years, then by all means, one of the best ways that I can recommend you developing those right now is either long walks without your phone, runs, long bike rides, build up the endurance, the ability to read, the ability to watch. Maybe you can even do the endurance of like, can I endure to watch TV shows all day, or can I endure to play video games all day? And you can be like, that's easy, but like, try it, like test it, see if that's something that you can actually do. Like, you wake up and you do, that's the whole thing that you do all day. Like, you don't check your phone, you don't do anything else, you just endure that one set process. It doesn't have to be challenging, but like, just try it, test it, see what happens, because then that might add on to something else a little bit later. But yeah, I just want to say that I wonder what would have happened. Like, if he would have been able to go outside, if he would have been able to go outside, Would they all continue of going along the path that they did? Because people inspire other people, and somebody that inspires you, which I'm trying to do to you right now, that creates a ripple effect that we may or may not ever see. And if Robert De Niro's character would have been able to go outside, then maybe all the rest of the patients could have gone outside as well too. But as soon as he got prevented from going outside, all the other ones decided that they couldn't go outside anymore, and then they all just went back to the state that they were in, which is sad to see. It's really sad to see how other people think that they have the best interest at heart for you, when in actuality, from what I've been able to see, yes, it is great to get other insights and information and have other people and help them, like be accountable to them and have them help you on your journey and what you want to do and have them ask you the right questions. That is true. At the end of the day, though, you know what's best for yourself. You know what you need to do. You know the desires. You know the work ethic. You know the time. You know the effort. You know who you are. At least if you journaled and you've reflected on the ways that you need to reflect in and or endured certain tasks. But like, you know what's best for you. Nobody else can ever tell you what is best for you and things that they are. And yeah, sure, they can be smarter but that's still, like, to me, that still comes back to the placebo. Like, if a doctor diagnosed you with something and then they come back, like, there's people like get misdiagnosed for cancer or something like that, or misdiagnosed for some sort of other disease, mental illness or whatever it is, and it's just like, just because they got misdiagnosed, the doctor like backpedals and you believe it to be true, and then that just starts to become a self-fulfilling prophecy. It's a matter of what you believe. What you believe is going to create your reality. And if you're believing that all the work and effort that you're putting in isn't going to amount to anything, then it's not. But if you believe that all the work and effort that is amounting to something will amount to something, then it will. Because even the conversation that I had the other day, I talk with a lot of people, if you can't tell by this point in time. One of the dudes was like, content is like planting seeds. You don't know what's going to grow, but one day you just look back and you have a full forest in front of you. I was like, that's true. So it's just like, what are you planting today? Are you planting good thoughts into your mind? Are you planting bad thoughts into your mind? What thoughts can you remove out of your mind? What thoughts have somebody else told you that you need to do or that you can't do, that you would like to do? What action steps can you take today to help you get closer to those said things? As you can figure those things out, I can guarantee, at least from my personal experience, things will start to change. It might take some time, as it does with all things, as it does with building muscles, building the mind, building the strength, building the confidence, building the communication skills. It all takes time. But if you start today and you take small little incremental steps, things will improve. I know they will, because they have for me. If you made it to the end of the video, subscribe, share, like, let me know your thoughts down below. I'll see you in tomorrow's video. Thanks for watching.